Hi everyone, Eileen here from the Sweet Poppy DT. It's my turn now to share a video tutorial with you, and I'm really looking forward to this. I hope that you are enjoying our Sweet Poppy Stencils Inspiration Day, and that in fact you are getting inspiration regarding the new release stencils, which I think are absolutely fabulous. This is what I would like to share with you today. And I'm just going to whip through some of the ingredients that I'm using to create the card. Starting off with the inks that I'm using: Distress Oxide, Uncharted Mariner, be careful with this, really overpowering colour, Evergreen Bough, Wild Honey, along with Shady Lane and Nocturne Versifying Clairs. Few brushes. I've got a stamp from Stampscapes Stamps, and this is Trees with Rocks, and the code number of this is 267E, and Lucy from Sweet Poppy Stencils is the UK stockist for Stampscapes Stamps. And I'm also using a sentiment from a set of stamps that is designed by Sweet Poppy Stencils. So you'll find them on the website, no problem. And it's from this set. And it is actually called, the set is called Life is a Journey. And that's the sentiment that I'm using. I think that's lovely. The stencils, of course, I'm using the chestnut stencil, which is hiding. Now, it'd be useful if I can find that because I've got to use it. Oh, there it is. So I'm using the chestnut stencil along with the stripes stencil. Okay, let's go. I'm starting off with a piece of super smooth cardstock in white, and this is from Clarity Crafts and it's called Stencil Card, and I've cut this square into 14 centimetres by 14 centimetres, and it just fits with the stencil. I've cut it to the size of the stencil. Now I'm going to use the back of my Misty as my magnetic sheet, because if you're using stainless steel stencils, you need a magnetic sheet, whether you're pasting or inking. Keep it in place. One goes there, one goes there. I've got my first brush, which is green for Evergreen Bough. And I'm going to put my ink onto my blending mat here. Can't see it too well because I've got my beautiful Sweet Poppy green mat underneath. And this is really lovely and it's non-slip. So really spreading that out so that there's not too much ink on the brush. I'm going to apply it in layers, and then that way you lessen the chance of the ink spreading underneath the stencil. Starting off with the top leaves, circular motion, a bit more ink. Every bit of ink from the ink pad is then put onto the blending mat. I used to put it onto copy paper, but I'm trying to lessen the impact on the environment by using less copy paper. So, along there. You will find, if you're using this cardstock, that as the ink soaks into the card, the blend becomes smoother. And it looks really good. See, the brush is shedding a few hairs here. I've had this quite some time, this brush. Still doing the job though. So around there and here. Don't want it to be too dark. The idea of a background is for it to be in the background. Now, just very quickly, circular motion in the middle just to give it a bit of colour, and then back to this frame so that it's slightly darker than the middle. So bring your eye out. And then moving on, and need to be careful with this now, folks, because if you're using Uncharted Mariner, it can be overwhelming. So change brushes and plonk that down, technical term. Oh, did you see my wound? Look, the oven bit me. I said a few words. I said, oh, golly gosh, that is painful. I'm healing now, but, you know, no bother. If you want to send me presents and cards to make me feel better, expensive presents, I won't mind at all. Okay. Just holding that internal frame, inside frame down. And then underneath the leaves with the Uncharted Mariner, spreading it out again, a bit more ink, and then up very lightly, of releasing pressure on the head now. So it's more pressure here, less pressure there, bit down the side, not too much, more ink, and then to the leaves here, bit more pressure, so it's a bit bluer in colour at the bottom. And then along again, letting it fade out as it gets over to the right hand side. So more pressure, release pressure. And let's see what that looks like. Not bad at all. Couple of little stray flecks there. I can get rid of those later. Right. Okay. So that gives me my background colour. Now I'm going to put another stencil on. And this is the stripes. This again, another Sweet Poppy stencil. Popping that down. Going to bring it up from the bottom, so that bottom edge there. And that tells me that the stencil is straight. You don't want wonky stripes, do you? So I know that they're in a vertical position. Orange brush now. And a quick clean off. Might need some water for this. Sprayed a bit of water on my work there, but I don't think it's harmed it. It'll add to the mix, won't it? So another brush, not that one though. This one that's in my hand. Don't worry about it. I've only had one cup of coffee today so far. It's early, all right? So plonking down now Wild Honey. I love bright colours. Now, I don't want this to be too overpowering. It's got to stay in the background. I want it to look quite transparent. So with very little pressure on the head of the brush. And I want to make sure that the stripes that I have are different heights. Some would be less, some would be quite tall and others less so that you get more interest in the card and it isn't so uniform in the back. So starting off, staying on the inside square, starting off at the top of that leaf in the bottom left, and then going on to the next one, and then right up with the next one, but not out of the inner square, and then moving along over to the right, but not all the way over to the right. And again, ensuring that some stripes are different lengths than the others. There will be different widths as well, because this stencil has got different widths of the stripes. Adds more interest. Let's have a look. Perfect. Not totally uniform, which is what I was after, but a good basis now for our trees. Now I've got a tiny little fleck there that's winding me up. It was a mark on the stencil, some leftover ink. So I'm taking one of these, what is it? It's a pigment ink pen from Stignio, and I'm just going to dot it. Now to begin with, you'll see it, but as the ink soaks in to the cardstock, that will disappear. You'll know it's there. I know it was there, but as soon as we've completed the card, you won't see it. Put my inks away. Clear the ink before I get my hands all in it. Check hands. I know I'm paranoid when I'm working with white cardstock. Don't need this at the moment, but I do need a stamp pad. What have I done with that? That's it. Piece of foam. I use this for stamping when I'm using blocks. And I've got the Stampscapes stamp, the trees with rocks. Versifying Claire's Shady Lane. Ink it up. Take a dry cloth, and I'm taking off some of the bottom part of the stamp, or just a little bit of ink from the bottom, because the sentiment is going over the top of this. And it makes the sentiment will be more prominent. And then I'm going to take off the first generation of ink down, not pressing too heavily, okay, and then lining up with the bottom of that inner square. So don't go into the white area, and then over to the left hand side, and try and ensure that your image is straight. Not so easy to see with these red rubber stamps, is it? But that looks lovely. Okay. Now I'm going to return to my stamp press, my MISTI. And I've got a sticky grid sheet here. It's tacky from Sizzix. Not to be confused with double-sided adhesive. This one makes your work repositionable, whereas double-sided adhesive, you would never be able to move it in a month of Sundays. So pop that there and there. Oh, I've got some ink on that. Where did I get that from? Maybe the side. Anyway, it doesn't look too bad. I can live with it. Might be able to remove it with my eraser. But it doesn't look too bad. Now, life is a journey. Indeed it is. So I'm going to pop this down. Try and ensure that it is straight. I want the Y to come out through the white border here and into the green border there, just the tip of the Y, like so. That should do. I think that is straight. You go into panic mode, don't you? Well, I do. Okay, so let's just see how we're doing with that. Now I'm looking at the guideline here on the grid, and that stamp is straight across that grid line. Yep. So I'd like it known that if that isn't straight on my card, then it is obviously at fault with the grid on my Misty. Nothing to do with me, sir. No, indeed. Gentle tapping. I don't know how many of these I will need, so let's go. 1. Oh, it's straight. That's good. 2, bring in the Baron. 3. Should we do one more? Why not? And it will really zing out then. Okay, yes, that's beautiful. Well, I'll say so myself. I'm very modest, as you gathered. Now, I'm enjoying this. I hope you are too. Please leave some comments for us on the Simply Sweet Poppy Stencil page. All the DT girls, ladies, have worked really hard on this, but having fun at the same time. Now I will need a Sharpie. Yeah, because I'm going around the edges. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. For those of you that are squeamish, close your eyes now, because I'm going to check my fingers, and then I'm going down here and here. Use a ruler if you wish, or not do this at all. 3. It just outlines it nicely without making it look too much of a funeral card with loads of black. Okay. But it's personal choice, isn't it? Whatever you want to do is great. Now, there's nothing else to put on here except now to tell you that I've taken an A3 piece of cardstock in white super smooth. I think this was from Paper Mill Direct, the A3 size. I've folded it, creased it, cut it to 17 centimetres by 17 centimetres, and I put my cards on 10-fold, like so. I won't stick that down. I'm sure you know how to do that. And we're done. I'll just briefly show you that the card that I completed at the beginning, I did put a bit of shadow underneath the word journey with a blue polychromos pencil, indigo blue, and a ruler, just to give it a bit of shadow. I haven't done it on this one. I don't know which one I prefer. I think maybe I prefer it without that. But I thoroughly enjoyed this. I hope you did. I'll be back soon. Not today, but I'll be back soon another time with another Sweet Poppy stencil video demonstration, and I'm going to pop this onto my YouTube channel too. See you soon. Bye for now.